Alright guys, welcome back to the shop. Hope everybody had a good New Year's Day and didn't party too hard New Year's Eve. I know I probably did a little bit, but anyway, today we got a little welding project we're going to do. And what it is, I've been wanting to build me a 3-point hitch for a trailer hitch. So we've got an old hitch out here on this bumper, and I went and got some tubing the other day, and we're going to see if we can't weld us up a tractor hitch. So over here on this bumper that came off this truck I've been working on, we've got somebody has really modified a receiver hitch for it, and we're not going to put this back on this other truck, even though it looks like it's pretty heavy duty. I've got a good receiver hitch I can put on this truck that I was going to put on the Silverado, but I just ain't done it. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a torch and I'm going to cut these 2 bolts off on each side. This has already been undone, so this is pretty heavy plate steel here. We're going to need it, and we're going to use some of it to make our mounts. And then I've got some 2.5 inch by 3/16 tubing that we're going to use to build a frame for. So I guess the first thing we need to do is get a torch out here and whack off these 2 bolts and get this hitch off, and then we'll probably go ahead and cut these big plates off here and there. We'll leave the little side plates on it. These side plates, that'll be useful to weld to gust it up against our other frame we're going to build. Alright, so these I'm going to leave on these ends, and I'll just put my frame right up against it. That way I have a good place to weld and help gust it to the side. These I'm going to take off, and this is welded good. That right there looks like somebody just took a dump on it. But I will be using some of this plate to cut me some little squares out. Either that plate or this plate here. Probably this plate, because it's got a lot more area that ain't got nothing cut into it. So I guess first thing I'm going to do is cut this weld out right here, and then we'll flip it over and cut the back side out. Alright guys, I got it all cleaned up best I could, ground down, flat as I could get it. Went ahead and polished the sides up on here where it's going to be welded. And now we're ready to load this and this sheet plate metal and these tubes on the truck, and we'll take it out to the other shop out in my mother's house where we can do a little arc welding. Got a cut-off wheel, saw in there and all, and that'll help us cut this tubing where we need to. So we'll pick it up out there at the other shop. So anyway, I've got 2 5-foot sticks. This 2.5 by 3/8. 2.5 by 3/16. I'm sorry. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut each side 2.5 foot with a bevel diagonal, and then the top will be 2.5 foot across. So we're actually going to end up with some extra, but and the top will also be beveled on both sides and should fit instead of just being butt welded. I just think it'll look a little better. This thing's going to be really heavy, unfortunately, but alright, so now I got to find a tape measure and some marking sticks. So the top rail is going to be more than 2.5 feet. It's going to be a little over 3 foot long. So as long as I don't mess up my cuts on the sides here, I should have plenty of material. So we want the 2.5 foot, which would be 30 inches, right? And we want it on the bevel. So this one will be 30 inches. This is just a little bit off. And we'll just end up having to cut a little bevel out, a little bird's mouth out. Right, so come over here to 45. We'll get it pretty close. I'll have to cut on the inside of that line there to make sure. And then I've got to move some stuff around. And of course this thing throws a lot of sparks and it's real loud. I don't even have no hearing protection out here, but I do have a mask. Same size, same length. Yeah, well, we got that far off. That might be the better of the choices here. Cut on the inside of the line, I think we'll be alright. That. Now I don't know exactly what we're going to need for the top to get these two welded up to the top, and then we'll measure and cut the top piece for square, or at least get it tacked in place anyway. Alright, so this is what I came up with. The problem I see right now, I still got a weld bead, and this one's not sitting on the weld, so it's probably pushed back. We need to check square here. And this one's a little bit too far back. this one is about 1/8 of an inch too far back. And we got a pretty good sized crack right here. I think what I might do is go ahead and set this one up on top of that wheel. Have a little bit of crack down at the bottom. That looks pretty good right there. It's still a little bit off on the back side, but as far as straight up and down, that looks really good. Now this one's going to have a pretty good crack down here at the bottom that I don't like. Matter of fact, I'm almost thinking about just lopping these damn side pieces off and then taking something and coming from the inside, bracing it that way. Alright guys, I got it all cleaned up, ready to tack. I'm going to use 6011 because I want to use DC, and I've got some 7018, but it's AC only, and I got some 6013, but they're not 1/8 of an inch. So I'm using 6011 1/8 of an inch rod, and we're going to put some tacks on this thing so that we can go ahead and get our measurement and all, and get that tacked in as well before we finish it up. Now we've got it set up on, what's that about? So we're on DC electrode positive, and we're going to go ahead and give about 80 amps. Try that, see what that does. We're in there. Go ahead and hook our ground clamp up. It's been a while since I've welded, but I figure for this kind of project you really need a good strong weld, a little stronger than what I can get with my 110 MIG. I should have it stuck. That feels pretty good. Alright, so now let's get a couple of measurements. Let's get us another piece cut before we go much further. And what I'm thinking is, if I measure from here to here, I should be able to cut me a piece that length and fit right here. If I have to, I can pull it in a little bit, but we'll see what the difference is. We're looking at about 36, roughly 36 and a half. And here we're looking at 36, almost a half. That's pulled in much. So if I went 36 and a half, I believe we'd have it. So let me get this down and set that set the saw back up, and we'll cut the other piece 36 and a half or so. Alright guys, got that other piece cut out and ground, and it matched pretty good. I'm a little bit off, but you know, hell, with that old chop saw, getting that close is pretty amazing to me. The thing's still a little bit warm. A lot of heat. So I think we're pretty well ready to tack this joker. I need to pull it in just a little bit on one side This side looks good. This side's off just by a fraction, which I don't think it really that matters that much. I don't think it matters at all, really. And I think I'm going to go ahead and down here at the bottom, these plates stick out in the front. I'm going to just torch me a hole and stick me a pin right through here, right through this plate. And of course then I'll just weld me up a couple pieces up here in the center for the top link, 2 inches apart. I've got some pretty good size angle iron over there I could use instead of using that plate. That angle ain't quite as thick as a plate, but it'll be a little easier to weld. That plate's might be a little tough. Now, actually, I could even put it on the top. Put the top link on the top. But anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and tack it up right there, and then we'll move it up to the table and finish welding it. This side needs to come up just a hair bit more. There. There. Get this thing back on the table. Be ready to weld it. Pretty good little gap there, boys. I don't know if I'll be able to weld that joker up or not. I'm gonna weld down through here though. I believe I can get it. Alright guys, I'm going to use a welding rod to fill this gap. And I'll just weave it right on up in there. And we'll bend it around as we go. One little hole right here I got to fill in. Need a damn chipping hammer. And then we'll just start up through here, weld this, and I'm going to just keep going. I'm not going to film any more of this welding today. I got probably an hour in this video already. So anyway guys, tomorrow I'll get my I'll finish it up tomorrow. I'll finish welding this evening, and part 2 we'll finish it up. So until then, thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe if you haven't.